Hello 7.2, here is some whole class feedback for you from your remote learning task 2 general knowledge quiz that you did. I've not received everybody's yet, but this is taking into account the answers from most of the class. So the key sort of bits that I would like to praise is just the detail in quite a lot of your answers to some of those questions. You had some really excellent examples to help showcase that you really understand what each question was asking, which is brilliant. And in particular, I want to highlight the very last question on the quiz, which was about why the peasants revolted. And we'd spent quite a lot of time on this in class, and it was really lovely to see that you were reflecting on your notes on that, and you had some really detailed answers for that question in particular. And some of you even started to remember to use the causation language we'd discussed to highlight the importance of different causes. So, for example, some of you were saying that some causes of the peasants' revolt triggered or sparked the peasants to become angry and led to the revolt. Some of you were saying that certain causes were main causes. They were sort of long-term causes, like the issue of the feudal system. So it was really excellent to see your use of that vocabulary in your answers as well. So well done to those of you that did that. In particular, I've just picked out 4 people that I'd like to highlight and praise for their test quiz answers. Joe, for including really specific quotes about John Ball's preaching and what he was outlining that made the peasants angry. Matty, for outlining about the poll tax and why that was such a big issue for the peasants and how the issue of serfdom overall highlighted the lack of freedom that peasants had. Jessica, for really focusing on using key terms like nobility and making sure that she explained that they were worried about the collapse of the feudal system. And then Maisie, I've just included a quote from your test for that last question, just to highlight the level of detail that some of you were putting into your answers. And Maisie has really clearly shown that she's used some of that lovely vocabulary I was talking about, such as sparked the peasants' revolt and triggered the peasants' revolt, which is brilliant. So in terms of your feedback and how you can improve your answers, along with this video, I'm going to email you all the test results, and I would like you to look through your answers and look through the test result answers and correct any that you got wrong or that you might have left out because you weren't sure. And then in particular, I'd like all of you to really review your last question on the knowledge quiz. And I'd like you to think if you can try and add some of this vocabulary to highlight causes to your answer. So you might write about the feudal system being a long-term factor, something that peasants were really upset about over a long period of time, and that this contributed to their anger and therefore the peasants' revolt. Remember that the peasants' revolt built up over 33 years. It's not just one event that happened. So you need to really think about what were the long-term factors, the underlying factors, and what were the short-term causes that meant that that revolt happened. A few misconceptions that I just want to highlight. Some of you sometimes use terms like them or their. Just be really precise in your answers who you mean. Do you mean peasants? Do you mean nobles? Do you mean the king? So just think about that. Then for question 2, most of you did really well on this question, but there were just a few of you that got a little bit muddled with what a primary source is. So books and Wikipedia or other internet pages cannot be primary sources. Primary sources are original documents from the time period that you are looking at. So if you're looking at, say, the Anglo-Saxon time period, medieval time period, those original documents could be artifacts, they could be actual objects that tell us something about that time period. If you're looking at a later time period, then it might be letters or diary extracts that help us understand more about the time period that you're looking at. So just be really careful that you really understand what a primary source is. Then for question 3, again, most of you did brilliantly on this, but the timeline question was asking you to review some of the time periods that you've studied in Year 7 so far, but they were also asking you to think about some of the topics that you have studied at primary school. So it might be that different primary schools studied slightly different things, and that's why some of you got this question wrong. So just make sure that you're really clear the order which the time period should have been put in. So Stone Age, then the Roman period, then the Anglo-Saxon period, then medieval period, industrial period, modern period. Obviously, there are other time periods that go between some of those things. So at the moment, you're studying the Renaissance period, which would fall between the medieval and industrial. But we were just testing you on time periods that we know you have either studied at primary school or you have studied so far with us in Year 7, such as the Anglo-Saxon and medieval time period. So please just review your order of those time periods for your question 3 answer. A couple of spelling issues and grammar issues that you just need to look out for. So Black Death, lots of you wrote that with little letters for black and death at the start. Remember, this is a name of an event, so therefore it's a proper noun, so it does need capital letters. Also, serfdom, it's brilliant to see that so many of you were using this term, because I know it was new for most of you in the class when we came across it. But just be, again, really careful of your spelling. It's S-E, not S-U. My final point that I want to share with you in your whole class feedback is just a standout moment, and I've picked out Fletcher's test answers, his quiz answers, because just overall for every question, Fletcher really tried to add excellent detail in his answers and tried to just show the range of knowledge that he had. So well done, Fletcher. Hopefully this video will help you go through your test quiz answers, and when we return to school, we will probably do this quiz again. So make sure that you really do go through your answers and that you know where you can improve your score. Well done, 7.2. Bye.